thought you'd join me here today in Stewartby, Bedfordshire, where I spent the first 18 years of my life. A model village, meaning it was designed and built from scratch in the 1920s, especially for the workers of the London Brick Company. And at one point, Stewartby Brickworks was the largest brickworks
in the world.
Bedfordshire at one point would have given Lancashire a run for its money, chimney-wise, with roughly 130 chimneys dotted across this small county in England. This aerial shot, I think, is from 1952, and just look at the amount of kilns and chimneys that we have here. I can count about 31 chimneys in Stewartby alone in these photos. This would have been Stewartby Brickworks at its peak. I might delve more into the brickworks in a future video. Anyway, the brickworks closed in 2008 and the last 4 chimneys were demolished in 2021, which I attended. And took a brick from each chimney, of course. Well, 3 years on from that, and the local skyline is set for yet another change to join the ghastly metal incinerator chimney over there, brick chimneys all the way, and the wind turbine, which hardly ever spins, but it is today. And that's roller coasters, rides, hotels, fake volcanoes. Yeah, Universal Studios have purchased a large chunk of land immediately north of Stewartby and, well, plan on plastering one of Europe's most prestigious theme parks all over it. This is one of the former clay pits that served Stewartby Brickworks, and it is absolutely fossil central around here, with it being clay. Everywhere you look there are fossils, so if you're into that sort of thing, get yourself down here. They're bloody everywhere. Now, this isn't the first time a large scale attraction has been promised next to Stewartby. In 2005, the Naira project, basically a bigger and better version of the Eden project in Cornwall, was set to be built here on the 250-acre Quest Pit, one of the former clay pits for the brickworks. But as you can see, nearly 20 years on, and well, nothing ever became of that. It fell through. A plan for a large film studios on this land has also recently fell through, which I thought was quite bizarre, as I thought that would work well, situated virtually next door to a potential Universal Studios theme park, but no, it wasn't to be. An absolutely huge area, much like the piece of land just over there, which Universal have purchased. So let's take a look at that, shall we? Little fact for you, this bridge appears in Harry Hill the movie, and I took a few clips and pictures of him sitting right about here. Harry Hill himself has sat here. Here's some clips of them filming that particular scene. They were here for a good few hours filming back in 2013, but when going to see the finished product at the cinema, the scene was only lasted about 15 seconds, so it just goes to show the effort they put into these productions. I think it was a box office flop as well, actually, but I enjoyed it. Walking across Stewartby Green, you would have once had a fantastic view of the chimneys from here, now all gone, and it will never not be weird for me to stand here and not be able to see a single one. Now coming up to where the Universal theme park purchased land begins. As I approach the ancient hamlet of Wootton Broadmead. And the name Wootton Broadmead didn't really live on after Stewartby was established in the 1920s. Although this road remains Broadmead Road, now just a farm stands in Wootton Broadmead. Here's how the farm looked before the old farmhouse was demolished and replaced with a 1960s/70s rendition. Same tree. A few hundred yards up here was the former Broadmead Halt on the Varsity line, Bedford to Bletchley. Right at the very corner of what is Universal's land used to stand the Crossing Keeper's Cottage, Gothic style, built in roughly 1850. But it was demolished in the late 60s, early 70s. It wasn't really doing any harm, was it? There were a few additional cottages here in the 19th century, but they were demolished in the late 20th century. But if you go back even further, there's evidence of a medieval settlement here. And the most notable piece of evidence for this, I think, would be the moat, which possibly surrounded a medieval manor house. The moat is even illustrated on the late Victorian Ordnance Survey maps. And you're just about able to make out the moat on this 1952 aerial shot. Apparently it was still visible in 1977, but by 1990 it had been lost to the plough. It says here that entire area now ploughed. Tenants spoke of a rectangular area where nothing would grow and ploughing up lots of horseshoes. I wonder how many are still beneath the soil right now. Saying that though, I was looking at the historical imagery feature on Google Earth, and on one of the 2003 captures you can see a fragment of it reappearing, most likely during that 2003 heatwave we had. And here I am right now. I have arrived at the spot. You can go back even further than the medieval times because evidence of Iron Age activity has been found in this area, with some Iron Age pottery being found in a 2013 survey when they were digging trenches for a new housing estate just over there, just round the corner to this field. Archaeological trenches are currently being dug all over this field. I would be surprised if they didn't find anything of historical value. There must be plenty of artefacts if they dig in the right places. This particular trench right here, which has become a decent swimming pool, appears to be situated right about where the moat was. This is where I'm standing right now. I can imagine plenty of interesting artefacts dotted around in the vicinity. Be great to check these spoil heaps for any evidence of medieval activity. I was reading that in the 1970s there were scatterings of 11th and 12th century pottery found around the area. Well then, it pains me to say that this whole site, rich in history, is set to become a car park, according to the plans. How glamorous. Can you imagine trying to explain to the people living at the medieval manor or moated farmstead, whatever it was, in, say, the 13th century? Oh, by the way, not only is your house going to be absolutely decimated by the turn of the 21st century, but it's going to become a car park, would you believe? Oh, sorry? Oh, sort of like a horse with wheels type thing. But the wheels are actually on the horse, not the cart, not the chariot. If we take a look at footpathmaps.co.uk, you'll be able to see that this is the exact footpath I'm walking down right now, which goes straight through the middle of the proposed site for Universal. I know that plenty of other YouTubers have already been over here investigating. There's one such YouTuber called Universal Studios Updates Great Britain, I believe. Make sure you check him out, because he will obviously be giving regular updates, everything you need to know about the progression of this project. I just wanted to go into a little bit more of the history. Yeah, as I say, I'm not the first person to come and have a look at these trenches, but I finally made it over. Lots of them are filled with water. Let's see if there's a medieval coin sticking out anywhere on this spoil heap. God, what a piece of luck that would be. Can you imagine? There was a hammered Edward III coin like there, but no, I can't see anything. Not like I can pay too much attention, but yeah, I think we'll let the experts have a look. I can't help but think everywhere I go in this field, what will be where I'm standing right now in 10 years? Certainly not this trench. Oh, something of significance has been discovered there, it seems. Where's Tony Robinson when you need him? These trenches extend up into the very most northern fields of the purchased land, and also to this field to the east. So I'll have a quick look in there as well. As I approach this rusty plough, we'll go on into the next field, but yeah, look at this. It's got some history to it. Well, I mean, not that deep really, are they? I'm back to this rickety old bridge that was featured in my Ghost Roads video. Now just, oh, frightened this poor duck. Shame really. If only he'd known that he didn't even need to use that energy to do that. Completely unnecessary. I wasn't gonna do anything. Shame. Could have conserved that energy. Right. Now in this field, as seen on the map, more trenches. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 trenches in this field. Anything of historical value in here. So I would say that there's going to be more things found the closer the trenches are to Broadmead Farm. But who am I to say? Well, these ones are slightly deeper than the ones in the other field. So what's going on here then? Can anyone tell me? Is that another drainage example there? But this time it's gravel. I remember seeing that on this channel, the channel that you should subscribe to see regular updates. Oh, come on, let's, against all the odds, find an old coin in one of these spoil heaps on the top. Come on, there's got to be one. There's got to be one somewhere here. Unless you've got a metal detector. Good luck with that. So if you're a returning viewer to this channel, you might remember a video where I looked at Ghost Roads, and in that video you would have seen me walking across this exact field to go up there, and when it was extremely boggy. But today it's the complete opposite of that. It's bone dry and absolutely no mud is sticking to my shoes this time, which I'm very thankful for. Now you may also remember, if you watched that video, that I found 2 old bottles. One was a Charles Wells beer bottle, which I'm still yet to get a definitive date on that. But another one was a milk bottle just before that one that had my initials on. And I initially left this here because I decided just to take one home with me to avoid them smashing into each other in my bag. So I'm about to find out whether the AB milk bottle is still where I left it. Let's hope so, because I wouldn't mind taking that one home as well. Let's see if I can remember the spot. Right, I was searching for about 20 minutes, but couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure I remember which tree I left it by, so it's either been taken or I've got the wrong tree. It was pretty stinging nettly over there. So some of it was untraversable over there, so might just have to go back in the winter and try and find it anyway. I've now made it to the beginning of what, according to the initial plans, is to be the lake zone of the theme park. Manor Road, which you can hear just there, is acting as the boundary intersecting the two core and lake zones. And just beyond here, past this gated entrance, is the site of another former brickworks. This one was called Eastwood's Works. That was eventually obtained by London Brick Company and added to their extensive catalogue. Just down the road you would have had the London Brick Company's Stewartby Works, and over there Coronation Works, and just here Kempston Hardwick Works. The Brickworks Triangle, you could call it. As a kid I vividly remember the word Eastwards written down one of the chimneys over here, much like the word Stewartby was written down one of the chimneys at Stewartby Brickworks. An iconic chimney. There were only 2 chimneys remaining when I was knocking about as a kid, but I did come to witness them demolish the 2 chimneys here in 2002.
And then the moment the crowd had been waiting for. They used to make 6 million bricks a week here. On Sunday, the last 2 chimneys produced quite a few more.
This former brickworks building here has had its entrance very recently bricked up due to curious YouTubers entering. I definitely wasn't hoping to be able to do that myself. It's interesting, you know, they could just demolish that, but they haven't. They've bricked up the doorway. So could that mean we will see more of this building? Would be good if they could incorporate this building somehow into the new development. Maybe if it's even just a storage building, but to have a building that was part of the old brickworks being given a new lease of life, I think would be quite good, especially to preserve the history of the site. But not everyone thinks like that, do they? So I'm not going to get my hopes up for this one. But who knows? I think they are planning to construct a brand new station along the Bedford to Bletchley line right about here in this general area, and subsequently close Kempston Hardwick and Stewartby station and merge them into one brand new station that will serve the entire Universal Park and Stewartby and anyone in Kempston Hardwick should they remain living there. You now join me here at the very north piece of land on an existing footpath which runs straight through it. This footpath goes from Woburn Road Industrial Estate in Kempston under the A421 dual carriageway and over towards where we want to go. These now bog standard looking crop fields used to be the site of Cow Meadow Racecourse, which was a flat oval shaped course about 1.5 miles round, and it was first recorded in 1730, and horse racing continued here sporadically until about 1873, although I think steeplechase meetings carried on a bit longer until the early 1900s. As you can see, the test pits continue over into these fields. There's more old drainage there, it looks like. And another one of those gravel lines that we saw earlier. There it is. Ground is a lot more moist today than it was the other day. There's a fossil on the surface. What's interesting is that in 1854, a company was formed to build a stand on land at the south side of Cow Meadow, which this area was called. It was constructed from brick and wood, was 62 by 38 feet, and even included a refreshment room. How luxurious. The Midland Main Line hadn't even been conceived of yet, although the Varsity Line did exist, and I can imagine that hordes of people would have arrived on that line, getting off at probably Elstow Holt would have been the closest, maybe Kempston Hardwick. Remarkably, the crop marks of this stand are still visible on Google Earth in this field here. So I'm just going to go down there and have a little look, see if I can actually see it with my own eyes. They're located just outside the universal land boundary, by a matter of yards really, which means it looks like they might survive for a bit longer. But part of the actual racetrack is, well, almost certainly going to be built over, as it would have been roughly in this area. I'm in the field in question. Let's go and take a look. Of course, the very last person to remember horse racing going on here is long dead, and it is today only remembered really by documents and a certain road at the nearby retail park, which is called Race Meadow Way. Now, let me just check my GPS to see whether or not I'm standing where the stand used to stand. Well, here I am. You would never know that there was ever a building here. The entire field is just a meadow now. It's not part of the Universal's plans. It is just a few yards from land that is. Once upon a time in the Victorian age, a load of people used to meet up here. It's multiple lifetimes ago now. It also means that inevitably there are Victorian bits and bobs scattered everywhere under the soil. Coins, keepsakes, there must be. Not quite sure when the stand met its end. We know when it was built, but there's no exact confirmation of when it disappeared. There we have it. Could this be a piece of the old stand? Only time will tell what this particular view will transform into in the next 10 years. There's always a possibility that it could just look exactly the same as this. I think the final decision will be made in June 2024. So let's see what happens. So there we have it then. I just wanted to highlight a brief history of the land in question for this new theme park, and there are a few historic elements that I hadn't seen anyone else mention as of yet. So whether you're a theme park enthusiast or just a local who's interested in the area, hope you found it interesting knowing a little bit more about the history. Right, I've become a bit thirsty now, but which pub is the closest to the exact epicentre of the Universal development? Oh, it's close, but I think it's just about the Cock Inn in Wootton, which takes the spot. So let's nip over there, shall we? Oh.
Do you like that?